if I think that something really great is going to happen, or that I really want to do something, that triggers all the other stuff that might get in the way, or all the other possibilities, and then I create the block. So I purposefully don't think of the anticipatory activity, because then all that other stuff might.
That gives you a kind of control over your very thinking principle and what you want to think, and that gives you actual control over your own path. A lot of people don't realize that they have to account for their thinking, whether they know it or not. And that's what I'm getting at. In this universe, we have to be accountable. And every day, whether you know it or not, the universe is saying you must account for your resolve. Anybody want to argue that point? Okay, how many of you want to confirm it? Ask yourself, what goes through your mind just thinking this? I have to be resolved every day over every experience I have, otherwise, fill in the blank. What happens if you're not resolved to today's experiences?
You repeat it. Just keep going over it and over it.
It repeats itself. It seems to come back. It's like a friend that keeps calling me on the phone and saying, hey, we got some unfinished business here. Well, when are you going to pay attention? It comes up in your dreams at night. It comes up spontaneously during the day. The things that are important to our soul, our brain, our body, and even us are the things that constantly are regurgitated. Why do you think that is?
Because we're here to learn.
We're here to learn. We're in a process. It's an educational process. And the first thing you should learn is about the instruments you use to weigh and measure yourself and life. So if you have a mind, it only stands to reason you should consider it. If you talk to yourself a lot, it's tied into your thoughts. You need to consider that, which is what we're going to do during this course. And I'll ask you at times to take home a concept, much like we just mentioned a few moments ago, that whether we know it or not, we are accountable, but so is everyone else out there. There are people walking and driving and shopping and loving and doing all kinds of things tonight, but they're all talking to themselves right now. Get a picture of that in your mind. Close your eyes for a minute, please. Get an image that you can see everyone on this island doing whatever it is they're doing, walking, talking, shopping, hiking, sleeping, snoring, watching TV, sharing time with their family, friends, on the phone, under their car, fixing it. Whatever they're doing, they're talking to themselves right now. Feel pretty common? Most of those people don't stop talking to themselves, even when they go to bed. Now, what's the one common thing you have in common with everybody else in this world?
We all talk to ourselves.
How did you know that? It also stands to reason that whatever you put into your mind, whatever you realize, it's that realization that manages the next set of thoughts in your life.
Sometimes when I try to turn it off, I found and I wanted to get your feedback on it. I'll go get in the bubble bath, or I want to get a massage, or sometimes just for a moment there, it just turns off.
Yeah. What turns off?
Me talking constantly.
Are you sure it turns off?
I doubt it, because I probably say, "No, this feels good."
Okay, close your eyes. Picture everybody in the world talking to themselves right now. Now ask yourself quietly, what is it you're saying to yourself right now about that? If you're not saying anything, you're not going to get an answer. If you don't talk to yourself about that, there'll be no suggestion with that visual image for you to develop anything else. It starts here. Every time you get a picture in your mind or you believe you have an insight that's reasonably true, we're going to try and prove it, and we're going to try and disprove it. And through that effort, it's going to go into memory, and it's going to cause things to happen. And one thing after another, before you know it, you're going to find that all of this information adds up to something wonderful. Let me ask you quickly, maybe you've got a sense, some people here are very intuitive, yes. What are the ramifications of discovering that everyone in the world, regardless of race, religion, or even language, that they're all talking to themselves incessantly and can't stop? What are the ramifications in your mind? What does it mean?
Mechanicality.
Right. It means what? They're in a constant process that they're not even aware of. Now, if we talk to ourselves all day, how come we don't know it? How come we hasn't dawned on us that we do this all day long.
Because it was a natural thing.
I think there's a part of us that believes that we're already in charge. That we are in charge of our thoughts. We do think what we want. When in fact, we're only in charge of some of what we think. But a lot of us are avoiding the basic issue because we never got an education on it. Yes?
Well, unless you're really aware of it, how often during the day do you realize you're breathing, your heart's beating?
That's right. That's what I'm saying. Unless you focus on it, you wouldn't know anything about it. And does that make you smart, dumb, or anything else? No. It just says you don't know. When you start to know, it'll make a difference in your life. And that's what this course is about. I'm going to get you in touch in the first few weeks with some basic psychology. But it's more than just basic. And get you in touch with the things that you're doing automatically that you have little or no control over. But just by observing it, you're going to start to gain control. It'll start to make sense. Suddenly you'll have intuitions and ramifications will start flying. The creative aspect of your life will open up after you start to do this work and develop along some insights or along the lines of some insights. Now, I know that when people talk to themselves, something else is happening. Close your eyes. When you talk to yourself, you're picturing in your mind what you're talking to yourself about. Now, not everybody sees what they're thinking, though. A large percentage do. How many of you don't see what you're thinking? Put your hand up. You don't see it, but you realize what you're thinking, right? How many of you see what you're thinking? And yourself? In between, not sure?
In between, yeah.
Okay, try this. Close your eyes. I'll give you a story. I know this guy, 28 years old, blonde hair, got one eye green, one eye is brown, sings in a band, drives a little red Sunbeam convertible. And every time he drives down the highway, he lives in BC by the way, every time he drives down the highway, he leaves the roof down whether it's raining or not. He loves to chew gum and he likes to drink beer while he's driving, and he leaves the beer bottles in the back seat so that if anybody gets in, his car is full of empty beer bottles. Now, you just did it for me, thank you. What's your view of this guy?
Yeah, no, I don't want to be part of that, his life. And that's judgmental, but I just don't want to be there.
Yeah, why?
I don't want to be around alcoholics so much.
Okay, so at least you know that you have a reaction to people that live a certain lifestyle. Now you know what it cost you. And anybody that even comes closely resembles that will be an automatic rejection from you. Right?
Yeah.
Do you know what else it cost you? We'll find out later. Do you love humanity?
Huh?
Do you love humanity?
Oh, yeah.
Now, what do you think of the guy's soul?
Yeah, well, I have compassion for his soul. I just don't want to intermingle with him.
You have compassion for him because of another judgment. Because he's an alcoholic, therefore he must be a what else?
Loser.
Why would he be a loser? Because he's got a car, he afforded that.
Statistically, though, I've seen brains where they dissolve because of alcohol. So
Right?
he
You see
doesn't
the damage
have.
done.
Yeah, so it's hard for him to really think. So
He's just a typical young guy. He's not an alcoholic, and I actually am the only one that knows him. He doesn't even exist. But see how opinionated we can be?
Oh, yeah.
Do you see what? No, not that. It's a normal condition for us to evaluate life in terms of self-defense and safety. It's self-preservation. The reason we react to certain pictures is because we don't feel comfortable. We feel vulnerable. We feel threatened. We feel like, oh my God, I'm going to catch that. Or something terrible is going to happen to us. If a person walks down the street, close your eyes. Give me another picture. Big guy walking down the street. Looks like a biker. But he's a therapist. Now what do you think of him?
I still have a little bit of resistance.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have some safety issues in your life.
Yeah.
And that's what we'll leave it at.